Hi, this is Natalie Rides from SBRpicks.com. 2022 FIFA World Cup has made headlines when they announced that it will be held in Qatar. Now, working against the bid was their extreme desert-like temperatures, which exceeds 50 degrees Celsius during the June and July period when it's off-season for domestic teams. Now, Lee Phelps is here with me now to discuss whether, in fact, FIFA has gone too far with Qatar. Lee, thank you for being here today.
Pleasure.
Now, how sure is it that it will be held in Qatar and take place in the winter months when their temperatures drop to around 29 degrees Celsius?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen now, doesn't it? I mean, only what, 2 weeks ago they announced that it would be on December the 18th, the World Cup final. So it looks pretty solid now, I think. And you know, the European leagues have been complaining about it, but you know, FIFA don't move. You know, FIFA are their own kind of organisation. They don't even seem to be that sorry that they've done this. I mean, obviously the World Cup was awarded to Qatar on a bid that was sent in, and these are legally binding bids, and it was supposed to be in the summer. Yeah. Everyone said it's supposed to be in the summer. The report was done, as you mentioned, ridiculous temperatures for playing sport in, but no, it went through. All of a sudden, FIFA said, "Oh, okay, we'll switch it to the winter months till November, December," which means, obviously I'm in England, and means the Premier League will probably break up maybe mid-November. Maybe earlier, November the 11th, maybe, reconvene maybe on Boxing Day, the 26th of December. So, I mean, it's crazy, but, it's FIFA, and it's going to cost them an absolute fortune, Natalie. It's going to cost them so much more money in paying clubs. Obviously, last year for the Brazil World Cup, I think they paid clubs around £70 million, this is sterling, as a compensation for having to release their players. This is all over the world. Yeah. They've set aside over 200 million for each of the Russian and the Qatar World Cups. That's a lot of money. It's a massive increase. It's also affected the TV rights in the States as well, where you look at companies like Telemundo and Fox, who did deals for a summer World Cup in Qatar, changes it to winter. NFL, anyone? I mean, it's much bigger than soccer is, of course. So now FIFA are having to say to them, well, when we get to the next World Cup after that, we'll do a special deal where for 2026 you can get first dibs on that, if you like. Well, what about all the other TV companies? And that'll be a reduced rate. I mean, it's an insane decision from a business point of view for FIFA, but I think they've dug their heels in so far that they can't get out of the mess now.
But, per season, there's a certain amount, obviously, of games which need to be completed. And by taking this sort of huge chunk of time over December, does that mean that then the season will continue for longer? Yeah,
well, I think they'll probably start it earlier and finish it longer in the UK. I mean, the weather lends itself to it. I mean, from a fan's point of view, I think it's going to be great. I've got no problem with the Winter World Cup. What a brilliant change it'll be. Christmas, the World Cup final, December the 18th, Christmas just around the corner. It'll just be fantastic. But obviously, it will disrupt the Premier League. I mean, we generally start the Premier League in early August. Well, they could maybe start that in late July. Premier League teams are playing Europa League qualifiers in late July, mid-July even. So you could start the Premier League in mid-July. You could have a month-long break or even 6-week break, of course, for the World Cup. Then start again either end of December, start of January, and run it right through. It's not like it's that hot in England, is it, Natalie? It's not like just because it's June, it's boiling hot. So, they could easily do it. I think it's a lot of fuss, really, about what is nothing. It's a one-off. It's an experiment in a way. I think the worst thing would be for maybe the competitions like the FA Cup final. The FA Cup could be disrupted. It has been in the past. And I believe it's the 100th anniversary of the FA Cup finals at Wembley in 2023. So that could be disruptive for the FA Cup. They may have to do away with replays. Maybe they won't hold the Capital One Cup, the League Cup in that season. Something will have to give. But, it's a one-off. When will it happen again? I don't think they'll be holding the World Cup in the Middle East again for a while, do you?
Well, the question what I was also thinking was kind of like, all of this money that they're going to have to pay out in compensation, wouldn't it be better to just build some indoor soccer pitches, get it all air conditioned? Wouldn't you, for the millions and millions they've got to fork out, couldn't that be another option? And then they could keep it all in the summertime and then everything else sort of like continues as normal?
And that seems like a reasonable idea, doesn't it? And air conditioned. I think the other thing though is that it's all right catering for the players. What about the thousands of fans who are travelling over in 50-degree heat? I'm not sure that would be. I think that often when games are called off because of bad weather here, the opposite kind, the cold weather. It's not because of the effect on the players or the pitch. It's the surrounding stadiums and the dangerous nature. So I don't think. Look, I used to live in Saudi Arabia when I was a kid. My family lived out there. My father worked out there, and we'd have to come home in the summer because it was so hot. I remember going back, and you'd step out onto the tarmac, and the soles of your shoes would be burning. So this is extreme heat. It can't be in the summer. It just can't be. It's still going to be like 29 degrees, maybe 30 degrees in November, December. It's not going to be cold then, is it? So it just shows that it has to be in the winter for me if it's going to be in Qatar.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's for people travelling, say as far as sort of like the UK and things like that? Do you think it being held in Qatar will sort of like, it's expensive to head over there. Do you think it will hinder them from travelling over to sort of support the country, or do you think it will actually be a welcome break from sort of like the winter blues that England is renowned for? Which way will it work?
I think, look, England fans in particular travel anywhere. Brazil was very expensive to travel to, so I don't think it'll be a hindrance at all. I think English football fans and football fans from all over the world just love new experiences, love to go and see the team play in different places, and it will be a different experience. Obviously it's a Muslim culture, and it's supposed to be a dry as well as what will happen with the alcohol side of things, which is obviously a major part of football fans' culture. But yeah, no, I don't think that'll impact on the crowd at all. I think there'll be just as many fans there as ever. I was in Brazil last year, Natalie, and Australian fans travelled for 32 hours to get to Brazil. And there were thousands of them, probably the most supported non-Central South American team that was there, maybe apart from the US.
Mm-hmm. Interesting you mentioned alcohol there. A beer and a match do go very nicely together. Their current laws state that alcohol can be consumed legally in hotel bars and clubs by showing your passport or reporting for a special permit to attend the club there. So I was going to ask, will we be able to consume alcohol there and watch the game as well?
Who knows? I honestly don't know the answer to that. It's whether they pass some sort of kind of temporary law where you're allowed to do that just while the World Cup's on. I've got no idea. I mean, that is one of the things I'm really keen to find out, because it is a huge part of not just English fans. Lots of European fans love to have a drink, and South American fans as well. So it's not I think that is something that will be really interesting to follow. The fact that it's allowed in the country under certain circumstances, maybe there will be the option to do that. But, there are so many questions, aren't there? I mean, the good thing, Natalie, is that we have got quite a long time, haven't we? It's not like it's round the corner. There's a lot of time for preparation now. Now we know where it is and when it is. I think there's a lot of time for preparation for the questions like that to be answered. But I think it'll be a big question in a lot of English football fans' minds.
Yeah, I saw a market which kind of was questioning whether a team will pull out of the World Cup there. Do you think that's possible?
No, not for this reason. I mean, obviously, if there are political reasons for any reason, then maybe. We've seen that before, haven't we, with sports? But not for the reason that it's going to be in winter. There's no way. I mean, it's too big a tournament. I mean, like I say, I think fans would be in uproar if the FA suddenly said, well, we're not going to compete. Well, just because England didn't compete, how many England players play in the Premier League, in the top teams? It's more of the foreign players, isn't it? Yeah. For it to benefit a league, all the teams would have to pull out, and that's not going to happen. So it would be a symbolic gesture, wouldn't it, if a team pulled out? But no, not for the reason that it's in winter. Maybe for other reasons, but we haven't got a crystal ball to look into the future like that. So no, I wouldn't be doing that. Maybe before it was. I think everyone's had a bit of a moan, and they've kicked up a fuss, and they'll demand compensation. But everyone will just get on with it in the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, the final question here is: did FIFA go too far with Qatar, or is it going to be a sort of a learning, a learning curve and a new experience? What would you say?
The latter, I think. I think it'll be a new experience and a learning curve. I think they made mistakes. Simple as that. I think they should have looked at the bids and they should have been upfront and said, this will have to be in winter. And then the problem with that, of course, is that it probably wouldn't have been voted through. So, that's probably why it happened this way. They let it get through, then they changed it afterwards. But no, I mean, I don't think they should have done what they did, which was award 2 World Cups in succession either. I don't think they'll do that again. I think they will award them on an individual basis from now on. But look, for me, as I said, as a fan, as a pure football fan, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think it'll be a change, whether it works or not. You know, I don't think we'll see them in the Middle East quickly afterwards. So you know, I've got no issue with it at all. It just should have been dealt with in a better way. But that's FIFA. You know, FIFA deal with things in very strange manners. So you know, we shouldn't really expect anything other, really. But I don't think they've gone too far in staging it in Qatar. They just got it all wrong in how they did it.
Yeah. Do you think money was a factor in deciding as Qatar as a location?
FIFA's lawyers and Qatari lawyers are too. Have got too much money for me to answer that one, honestly, I think.
All right. And one more question here, Lee, before you go. Now, I know you were over at Brazil covering the World Cup then. Are you going to be covering the World Cup 2022 in Qatar?
I don't know. I haven't been invited yet. I mean, I'll be. I'm just trying to think now. What year are we in now? 2015. I'll be getting nearly 50 then. I'll be like 47 by then. Hopefully, I'd like to think I could go to Qatar. We've got Russia first, of course. Yeah. So we've got to get Russia out of the way first. But yeah, look, having been in Brazil, I'd happily go and cover every World Cup if someone invited me to.
All right, wonderful. Lee Phelps, thank you for joining us today.
No problem.